Firstly, let me thank each one of you for showering massive support. Hi everyone, welcome back to Sustainable Living with Shilpa Reddy, powered by Planet Green Farm Natura, a new beginning to your life. Altering the way we live creates a great impact on nature, while changing the ways we operate businesses will definitely have a larger impact on the nature and economy. Welcome to the first episode of Dermiq Nature Tycoon, where we bring to you entrepreneurs with sustainable strategic objectives and purpose to businesses. On today's show, you get to not just learn about the right food and nutrition, but also see through an inspirational entrepreneurial journey. She truly believed in the nature first, profits next objective, and started when nobody had any idea on right nutrition. She continues to conquer and serve her customers with her strong objectives. Let's welcome the founder of Vibrant Living Foods, Sridevi Jasti. Hi Sridevi, welcome to my show, and I must admit that I'm super excited and so looking forward to converse with you.
I am so excited to be here. Thanks for inviting me. And this is such an interesting topic. I mean, it's very close to me for such a long time. So I'm excited to be here.
So Sridevi, 2011 is when you started Vibrant Living, and that is the time Hyderabad, I think very few people knew what is vegan. And we Hyderabadis, how we love our spices and biryanis and meats. You must have, it must have taken a lot of courage and conviction for you to even, start a brand like that in those days. What made you start, and did you see that there would be a future need?
Well, I always knew that that's how we all are going to be going, but I didn't start out to preach or teach or anything. I didn't even say it was vegan.
Okay.
Okay, I didn't need any courage to start. I'm convinced that what is needed for myself, for my family, my friends, for well-being of the planet is this kind of plant-based foods, and that's all I wanted to give. And when I came here to Hyderabad, when I didn't quite move if you remember,
right.
I would come here for 2 months just for a holiday and then give a couple of classes and workshops and go back,
right.
and then come back next year like that. Through this time I realized what was missing in the diet of Hyderabadis, I was like shocked how few fresh veggies we were consuming. So all I wanted to do was just give what was missing.
Okay.
That's all. I didn't start anything to change everyone or bring a movement here or teach, preach of veganism, none of that. I just was filling in the gap, and I knew that's what is needed. And I wanted to lovingly bring it on.
And you did
sneak
so
it in.
So how was your childhood? Like, did you have any strong impressions about wanting to get into healthy food, or your upbringing or your parental influence?
All of them, yeah. I mean, coming from a farmer's background, my grandparents were farmers.
Okay.
Dad is an engineer, but engineer in agriculture university. So his friends and colleagues were agricultural scientists, like horticulturists, pathologists, always around plants. And my dad and mom grew plants at home. We always had a garden, and mom is an excellent cook. I guess naturally I was interested in food, but I think as a teenager I connected the effects of food to how we look.
Okay.
Right? I mean, you're not going to, like, at 12, 13, 14, energy is abundant, right? You're not thinking aging.
Not at all.
Right?
You want to grow up fast at that age.
Yeah, what are you looking for? You're looking for, the teenage, okay, the pimples, okay, skin. So you wanted, I wanted good skin, whatever my mom would tell. Oh, if you drank tomato juice, or if you ate cucumbers, or, you have better skin. So that's how it started. That's how I started connecting food with the benefits of it, not just the palate.
That's very young, teenager, as a teenager.
As a teenager, yeah, it started very vain for the look, but that's how it started. You know, mom always tried to teach us kids to do different chores at home, even though there were helpers. They were like, you know, on Sundays you're supposed to have whatever your job.
Right.
So I always took, you know, cutting and, you know, peeling and whatever in the kitchen. That's what I liked,
Right.
and it just started that way. And then when I had to choose in college, it was easy choice for me, and I'm so fortunate that my parents let me do what I wanted. Like no objections. Oh, you wanted to study, you like food, so what teaches food in the university is nutrition, right? First I did home sciences, and then I went for nutrition. And I'm so glad. I'm so glad because it just, though I studied nutrition in university level, my learning about holistic nutrition was all outside. I just learned through various different classes and, you know, courses over the years.
That shows, because I've met multiple nutritionists, but your knowledge is something very different. It's just not from the university for sure. It felt like that.
Yeah, because also it's from different continents as well.
Correct.
Right? You know, studied in Toronto first for my master's. I lived there for some time, and then the US and Italy, everything combined. I mean, that's my interest. So wherever I went, it was food, its cultures, its traditions. What did they eat traditionally, and what did it do for them, and different diets. And that was my research from the time that I was in university. That's it. And that's what happened to me. Like everywhere from the time that I was in university in Toronto, my research was showing how important it is to have fiber-rich diets, right, to prevent chronic illnesses. And here are we at Hyderabad, I mean, shocked actually to see plates of people, and everybody, most people who came to me were into weight loss.
That's the first thing people ask.
Yeah, and you know, I'm sure you'll have questions about that, so I'll stop there. I'm sure we'll cover the rest in your other questions.
What was your first job?
My first job, yeah, I only had one job outside of my own business with my family. My first job was while I was in the University of Toronto, working in a health food store.
Oh.
And that was this health food store. This was back when Whole Foods Market was just coming up. It didn't come to Canada by then. I think Whole Foods Market, this is in 92, I think I was in, oh God, I forgot the year. I think something like that. I was in the university. So Whole Foods Market just started coming up. You know, John McKee, I'm so inspiring their story. So it just started coming up. So there were only mom, pop run little stores, like corner stores, health food stores, really charming little store, like how we have at Vibrant Living right now.
Right.
Vibrant Living is actually, by now it's kind of, you know, even bigger version of the store that I worked at, but they had so many different kinds of products, and they had books, and so I would frequent that store between, this store was between where I was staying home to university. I would walk, and it was in between, so I would stop by, because that was like heaven to me, you know. Because the India that I left, this was what, 35 years ago, 35. So there was no health food, organic, natural. Those terms were not at all used. We had food, like one kind, right?
That's it, yeah.
And that was mainly good.
Correct.
You know, so I didn't know, and here it's like health food store, everything healthy. What my mom, you know, what I was doing, you know, putting things on my face and eating this for this and that. So that was there. So I would just frequent, and they asked me to work there. And like very innocently, I said, I'm not supposed to work.
Okay, given the age.
Yeah, well, also my parents sent me to study there, right? I mean, you know, you know, they don't want to, you know, focus.
Right.
So then, and so I accepted work on the weekends.
Okay.
And that was the best time. I would just learn. I was just like a sponge, absorbing. You know, you're studying nutrition in the university, But they're not teaching any of this. They're not teaching you what happens, what kind of hormonal imbalances are causing PMS, or what caffeine does to you. None of that is taught in the university really, and all that was in the books here, right? And there were products
like
related to it.
Internship for you.
I'm paid internship.
Paid internship.
And they paid me because I'm studying nutrition master's level. People don't work in stores like that when you're doing master's, right? Because of my interest. And, that was my first job. People by then have so many jobs in those countries, right? I was already 21 or 22. So for me, they gave me more than the manager.
Oh.
Because I'm studying, and they would advertise that this person is going to be here to advise you, and they come there to buy a couple of things. I would sell like 10 things because it's good for them. Really convinced.
So I'm sure they didn't mind you paying for that.
That's why they pay me more. And I was like, I wish that kind of salespeople for Vibrant Living now.
So Sridevi, I've seen you conducting many workshops for corporates, for mothers. What is the common question that you get, and why did you start these workshops?
Why did I start these workshops? To bring awareness. To bring awareness. I couldn't bear ignorance. I'm sorry, ignorance towards food, because there was only focus was this: how much protein? Is it fat free? Is it low calorie? That's it.
That's all we know.
That's all we wanted to know also.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. And that was scary, because the world that I have lived until then, at least in my circle, my world of natural health and holistic nutrition and wellness in this field, we were coming out of it. We came out of it. We were looking at food as a whole, taking care of yourself in entirely, not just foods, right?
And even the word holistic is corrupted now for everything.
I know, and there was no exactly holistic nutrition. What does that even mean? Is it something holy? Holistic nutrition. So that's the world that I've come, and you see that's like, oh my, we are like 30 years behind. We're still talking about this only macros and never about micros. Oh, by that time nobody was speaking about superfoods.
Right.
There was no that was no
Concept,
term at all.
yeah.
And smoothies were like, what was those, milkshakes, but not smoothies, right? I mean, naturally, that was the con.
With sugar and lots of,
exactly.
Whole milk and all of that.
Yeah, so people would come to me saying that, okay, fine, if I stop eating meat, how will I get my protein, right? And they won't even, it's not even like we know how much protein we need.
Right.
It's just that we want high protein.
They don't even probably understand, based on your physical activity, your protein needs, all the needs, change.
Yeah, exactly, and also the bioavailability of the protein. It's not the same, right? All kinds of proteins are not created the same.
Right.
And so I had to educate like that. And another most important, something that I had to really bring awareness to was how we got used to spending so little on food. Such an imbalance of spending.
For the right kind of food.
For the right kind of food. No, just in general. I mean, when you go out and all of that, that's a different story. But when people budget, right? The budget that goes on clothing and houses and shoes and bags and whatever other stuff, not even coming to jewelry, that was just so much more.
Correct.
Anyone who has eaten like certain way and then suddenly eat a nicer, cleaner meal, following that we'll be able to tell, there's something
immediately.
Yeah, something different that's happening to me,
Right.
So teaching people, hey, this is worth it.
Right.
This is worth to make changes, in your diet, and that habits are made. You're not born with them.
Right.
That's another thing, People, I'm habituated to eat like this.
Yeah, to break that, it's so difficult.
So difficult, and people have such fear.
And I think emotional attachment to food as well.
Yes, there's a lot of emotional attachment. I mean, listen, rightfully so.
Yeah.
Rightfully so, right? We all are attached to, we need comfort. I mean, where are we going to derive happiness? We need, happiness through different senses, and sense of palate is the biggest, right?
Correct, yes.
And our first food from our mother, what is it? It's milk that is full of fat and full of sugar, right? So what do we get? Your baby cries, mom gives milk, right? And baby is soothed,
Right.
Got the nourishment and got the comfort. Got the comfort. And as adults, we're still looking for that.
No, absolutely, I agree.
We're still looking for that. So, but what is your body asking is naturally fat, naturally sweet. We misinterpret that and go for, all
Processed.
kinds. So that's why at Vibrant Living we have sweet foods. We have
Yes.
tasty foods. You can't do.
In fact, only after tasting your pies and those, even those chickies that you sell,
Chickies and trail
they
mixes and
satiate your,
Senses.
and also desert cravings, and super healthy at the same time.
super healthy, and they're giving you all kinds of nutrients. Can you imagine
Right.
such guilt-free food?
People eat healthy, but then when they put two kind of foods together, they do it so wrong. Could you please tell few things that everyone has to keep in mind before mixing foods, or something that they should not mix? For example, mixing two kinds of protein in the same meal, or anything that you know of that people should not do or should not mix together.
Right, yeah. A lot of people, even seemingly healthy people, right, seemingly, they deal with acidity.
Correct.
Right, indigestion, constipation, inflammation. I've had in my practice so many times right here actually in Hyderabad, men coming, with perfect bodies, right? Oh, you're not coming here for weight loss, obviously, and you look fit. What is the problem, right? The problem is inflammation and not able to get rid of the pains from the workouts.
No recovery.
No recovery or very slow recovery.
Right.
And they're scared. You go to the lab, get it tested, it doesn't show anything. You're healthy. Okay, if I'm healthy, why am I in pain? Right? Why am I in
The
pain?
fatigue, constant fatigue and
Yeah, because of the wrong combinations and the wrong approach to food. You're looking at muscle, right? And you're inputting kind of foods that are giving you acidity. High protein with no fiber. You need fiber. I'm not even talking meat, this and fiber, right? We need to have fiber, and you need to have body to be in good pH. You need to be on alkaline condition.
Right.
Otherwise, you're breeding diseases. So what happens is even healthy foods, like you said, fruit. I think you said 2 proteins. Yeah, that's another thing. Oh, I'll eat little meat, but that's not enough protein. It's not showing enough numbers of grams, right? I'll eat a little bit of dal as well, right?
Right.
Then it's a complete, and then you're like, your body is like confused. Or do I produce this kind of enzyme? Or do I kind of produce this kind of enzyme?
Yes.
Because you need different kind of enzymes to digest different kind of foods.
Right.
So it's important that you stick to one kind of protein at one meal. And another thing is, people like fruit. Fruit is so healthy. What is wrong with me eating fruit after a meal or with the meal, right? Yeah, fruit, it's wrong because even though it's really healthy, it digests really fast. It goes through your system like in 15-20 minutes. And if you have a little like meat or your high protein food or rich carbohydrate, it takes time to go through.
Okay.
And this food is sitting here, this fruit, right?
Oh.
And it putrefies the sugars in them.
Correct.
Because it's hot inside. It's
Right.
the temperatures are, so it putrefies and you get acidity and you get indigestion. So not only that you're not digesting and absorbing the nutrients of that fruit, you're bothering the rest of the food that is in your body.
So you say no fruit after a meal.
No fruit after a meal. A fruit is ideal to eat on empty stomach, in between meals,
Right.
right? Like that.
Or early, like first thing in the morning with
First thing in the
breakfast.
morning is fantastic, and also to think that let me cover all food groups in one meal is, I think, a bad idea. And another mistake people do is that, oh, this is healthy, let me eat it every day.
Yes.
Let me
You're
eat
right.
it day in and day out, right? So one, you're getting bored, you're not getting joy out of it. And number two, you're missing out on nutrients from other foods, right? Nature is ingenious.
True.
You know, that is how we're going to be able to sustain, to have lots of variety in your food, to make it fun,
Right.
as well as to get all the nutrients.
From the time you started to now, there are so many other health, food brands and chains which came up. How do you ensure to be different? And you still are different from many. How do you manage that?
I suppose staying true to myself and constantly innovating the new,
Right.
and making the old vogue. I always bring the old back, like, you must have seen tati muffins.
Yeah.
And I am
lot of traditional,
traditional
food.
foods back into fashion. It's not even it's fun. Food is fun, and I'm trying to show people how to enjoy. What are we seeking? Happiness.
Right.
How do you get happiness? True happiness, that is, right? Through food, mainly through food. Lifestyles, within the lifestyles of movement and meditation and all of that, food is the biggest. So I constantly, add new items to my menus. I myself,
Right.
Need something new. And for me, if you tell me, you give me 3-4 ingredients from 3 different groups, I'll give you 15 ways to make that.
Wow.
So I'm very creative with
So
food. That is
innovation is
innate
the
in me. I think that's one skill I'm born with, that I'm so grateful
Right.
that I'm super creative with food. So
And so quickly.
is quickly, and with my nutritional background, it's just kind of nice to have these two together, a little artsy,
Yeah.
inclination towards the science,
Right.
because every snack that I create for Vibrant Living and for home, and just, when I counsel my clients, I'm always keeping in mind both taste and health.
Absolutely.
You can't have one or the other. It has to be deliciously healthy.
You feel deprived and you can't sustain the diet for too long.
Yeah.
So Sridevi, who is a Vibrant Living's client? Like, describe the person who would become or who would be a client of Vibrant Living.
Honestly, every age group. I've seen every age group, every background, cultural background, ethnic background, and economic background, all kinds, because we have the new, we have the old. Some people, like my mother and grandmothers, they come and they're just like, they're like so excited to see in our markets, They say, we used to do this when we were children. I used to see in my village, this is what they did in my aunt, da-da-da. People with health issues, right? Diabetes, cancer, hypertension.
Well, that reminds me, I think once you also mentioned that you make specific diets for people with ailments or health issues.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's ranges from people who just want to eat healthy on daily basis. Sridevi, I don't want to think about what I should tell my cook, or I don't know how to cook. Right, I'll learn from your videos and I'll come to your classes. But meanwhile, can you please send me lunch home?
Simplifying their lives.
Simplifying, and busy professionals, and
it takes a lot for them to come, and decide as to what to eat, and you make their lives simple.
Yeah, because their focus is elsewhere. Even though food and health is so important,
True.
We have learned to give that responsibility to someone else. So somebody with authority, somebody with knowledge is, of course, better, right? So they come to me. And so just people with who wants to stay, have good skin, good hair, problems with PCOS, PCOD, fertility issues, of course, weight loss, big time, weight gain, even weight gain, and learning disorders in children.
So what kind of food do you recommend for kids with learning
disorders? Foods that are, again, plant-based, mainly gut. I heal the gut first, because gut is directly related to the mind, the brain, and brain back here. I mean, if simple example is, before going to an exam, something important, it rumbles,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
just from here, from the stress, from all of that, your stomach
So
rumbles.
directly connected.
Oh,
So Sridevi, they say food is an art, and I think in your case, it's an art and science. And it is also said that most artistic people are not somebody who can look into their business aspects. Do you have a team or do you do it all?
oh man, yeah. Well, if there is an example of organically, business that is grown organically, it is Vibrant Living.
Okay.
I've never given enough importance to growing financially as much as I did of giving food that is good consistently all these
Okay.
years. I am blessed to have the support of family to entertain myself with my passion and helping people and helping myself mainly, doing what I like to do. So very lucky to have the support of family. But over the time, I also attracted like-minded people who believed in what I'm doing at Vibrant Living. So I have a good team, small but good team
Right.
to keep the quality the same and consistent. And now I think since it's almost 10 years in business, and I am feeling like, yes, growing organically is beautiful, and that's what came naturally to me, and I have no regrets at all because I made a very conscious decision. Because I remember clearly with my husband at that time, he's a businessman talking about numbers and da-da-da. It just threw me out of balance because I feared that I will lose control and not be able to give the kind of quality of food that I wanted to give. Because
Right.
back then, there was such limited sources. Now I have so many farmers and so many educated farmers.
Right.
So many professionals turned farmers, okay, doing farming in natural methods
Right.
and pouring, okay, they're
Collaborating with you.
collaborating with me. Now I have abundance. Back then I didn't have. So
Correct.
how am I going to just, no. Let me do my job just the right what
So you
I
have
feel.
that luxury. So if someone has to start up, like young entrepreneurs who are aspiring to get into your line of work, what should they keep in mind? Because I think these kind of sustainable businesses take time to show results.
Yeah, but how much money do you need to run a business and to live? You don't have to have second location, third location, fourth location, fifth location. Come on, do it right, do
Right.
it solid. I mean, listen, I am no pro to give advice to entrepreneurs there. A lot of young entrepreneurs, they're like so vibrant and, they start big and they're doing well and all of that.
Okay.
And for entrepreneurs, this is what I have to say, you can't, yes, you get into business to make money, but more importantly, you're coming into business to make a difference.
That's
You're,
beautiful.
you're
Yeah.
making, you're making difference in so many people. So you're creating employment, and that is part of your earnings. Earnings they're not always in form of money,
Money. Okay.
right?
How beautifully said.
So you see that, and I think that'll help you stay in business and not run too fast
Correct.
to lose control.
So what is your idea of sustainability?
Idea of sustainability. Okay, sustainability. It starts with us not adding burden to the planet, individual level. So when for me, sustainable lifestyles, it comes from top to bottom. If I start like I wash my hair with soap nut water,
I brought one of your hibiscus and soap nut water, and it's
Yeah.
amazing.
yeah, that to me is sustainability, right? Whatever is going into your water, it's not polluting the waters, it's not polluting the groundwater, right? And it's not the fumes from chemically made shampoos fill the air, right? That's pollution.
That's like pretty much the entire lifestyle.
Over the time, listen, I haven't been like this always.
Okay.
I think it changed over the time. I've always been one of those yuppie, youngster taking my own cotton bag into stores,
Okay.
in the
Since
90s.
Everyone cannot do everything, right? I would like you to mention 3 things that every household can immediately start doing to reduce pollution and steer their lifestyle towards sustainable lifestyle.
3 things. Compost comes first.
Okay.
Then you don't have to go buy manure,
Okay.
right? Second thing is cook more at home. 3 ideas to
That anyone can implement right away.
right away. Grow a little garden. It is sustainable in a way that you are going to be mentally healthy. The little garden can help so much. 2 plants, little.
That was
planters.
one of my questions. Like, what shifts when you start growing your own plants?
We'll get there then.
And your words, I want you to
Oh.
put it in your words as to what happens when you see a plant grow in your garden or in your balcony, for that matter.
Sustainability, I'm still there. Sorry, because I'm like 3. For me, I realize what am I doing, right, to help myself mainly and the planet. First of all, when I was traveling like this, living in every country, I realized that the material things were just making me feel heavy. You know,
The fabric, you mean to say?
no, just things,
Okay.
things that you buy.
Buy and
things that you,
accumulate.
accumulate, right? So less things to accumulate made me just so much more lighter and free. So did I think
Yeah,
last time I was
composting is one, growing your own garden.
growing your own garden and accumulate less.
Okay, that's the third one.
That way you're now going to dispose more, right? So more you buy, more. See, and when you're buying, this is the one. When you're buying, understand the nature of what you're buying. What is it going to do once you use it up? Is it a consumable? Is it completely going to be gone, or is it going to linger somewhere? If it's not in your home, in the landfill somewhere. That is the third thing. Just like how I tell people about eating, before you put in your mouth, understand what is it going to do to you. Is it completely going to be, used up,
Okay.
right? Or is it going to sit in your body like a toxin, something that doesn't know what to do,
Right.
So those are toxins. Similarly, in physical life also, if you're buying something, is it a consumable? Are you going to use it up? And is there something left over in it that is going to be,
Yeah.
ending up in landfills forever? Starting from your sanitary pads to wherever. Just ask questions. What am I doing with my act
Right.
of this? Then once you understand that, he'll be like, oh no, I am causing this much burden to the Mother Earth or
Right.
the planet. I don't think I want to take,
Do
because
that.
a lot of us want to do good. That's what makes us feel good.
But also,
we
I
don't
think there's a
make-
fear of confronting yourself and your lifestyle at times.
Don't push yourself. Don't listen. I didn't arrive to where I am, and there's so much more. I didn't arrive anywhere on the
Okay.
journey,
Okay.
right? I have had all kinds of lifestyles. There was times that I would buy a plastic bottle and go, and then I realized, whoa, this plastic bottle has long life.
Right.
That has no space for,
Absolutely.
and the toxins that come into the water because of the plastic. That's another story. That was then, because at that time, my focus was drinking enough water.
So composting, Sridevi, I do composting, and it took me a while to get to where I am today. And when I suggest this also to people, the first thing they say is it starts stinking, you get ants, and they want to do it, but then they don't know how to do it right. So some tips that you can, give people to kind of keep in mind before composting in their homes.
Yeah, well, it is true. All of that is true. we all have gone through that. I think not giving up, because it's really important. It's magical, like something that you've done. You created black gold,
Right.
right? And the health of the soil is really important for the quality of the produce that you're going to be getting. So I think it's so worth doing that bit. And so the tips would be, follow the rules precisely. It needs just enough moisture, use your cocoa peat, use enough of dry to wet, and if you fail, don't give up, do it again. That's pretty much. But then, see, it's like gardening, composting, like taking care of children, pets. It takes time.
Absolutely.
There's no really a shortcut for it.
Or you don't get it in one go.
Yeah, exactly. We make mistakes and then and we learn from it and we go forward.
Right.
Yeah. If you're not able to do that, at least find somebody in the community who does it. Right? And send off your
wet waste.
Yeah,
to
wet
them.
waste over there. Maybe that you can do.
Okay.
And or just eat up the peels. It's whole foods.
As a parent, how soon you think one should inculcate healthy eating habits among their children?
I think it starts even before the baby is born. The health of the baby depends on the eating habits of the mother or the health of the mother. And so it starts then. But I think it's never too soon. And they get their nutrients from the mother's milk, and the quality of mother's milk depends on what she's eating. So they're already eating healthy,
right?
Indirectly, when they're nursing.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then, research shows that we have a chance to develop their palate until the age of 3.
Okay.
So, do your best to give different foods, different textures, all kinds, earlier on in age. It doesn't mean that, your baby is like a year old and you're like, oh, you want that baby to have like a lot of protein, give almond milk and all of that. Easy. There's a system, there's a method to this, feeding the babies at different ages. You can't, a lot of children develop nut allergies because we introduce nuts too early. In age, right? So basically,
the first 3 years, as much texture and variety.
And if they refuse something healthy for them, like you want to introduce something really good for them and they refuse, they say give it few days break and try again. It takes 3 attempts at least because it's new. It's all first time, right? So try like that and don't give up again.
So one last question. I've seen a lot of women entrepreneurs coming into health food sector. Do you think women have something different to offer?
I hope they're not thinking it's so easy because it's food, because they cook at home. I hope it's not that reason. I think women by nature have more nurturing qualities, and food is nurturing. Maybe that's why more women are attracted to this business. But I think at the end of the day, I think gender doesn't matter really. I myself never, I'm a woman, I understand that, but that doesn't come first to me. I'm a human first.
True.
Human first, and I'm not a big on. I mean, I'm not speaking for every woman out there, and there's so much inequality and injustice and all of that, and I am really, sad and sorry about that. But at least we can't discriminate ourselves.
Right.
Right? We can't keep telling ourselves,
I know.
we are in the disadvantage, nothing like that, Yeah. So I think in this business, maybe that nurturing quality is what is attracting more and more women to food business. But outside of that, I think we have, I think, same advantages.
Right.
As
we do.
Yeah, right now, at least in present day society, at least in our
urban cities.
Yeah, we are privileged that way.
What a lovely conversation and what an insightful one, and there's so much to take back with this conversation, Sridevi. Really, really thank you for being here and sharing your knowledge.
My pleasure. Nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
This is a lovely, nourishing hamper from Nourish You. Thank you for watching my video. Please do subscribe to my channel. Wait for more updates. See you all next week. Signing off, Shilpa Reddy.